So a good friend of mine was talking to me the other day, and he knows I've got the fragrance review channel. So he said, Dan, listen, what is a fragrance that's going to make me absolutely irresistible to women? Can you recommend me the best one? And I said, listen, if you want to be irresistible to women, it's not about wearing a fragrance. Try this. Don't work out, be in pretty bad physical shape, don't have a job, go down the pub every night and get pissed, have a horrible ugly dog that you walk up and down the road that barks all the time, and dress like a complete slouch. He said, well, why on earth would I want to do that? How's that going to make me irresistible to women? I said, I've no idea, but it worked for the bloke over the road with my ex-wife. Okay, so today we're going to be doing a comparison between Creed's two big hitters from two of their main lines. The main normal fragrances of Creed are definitely headed up by Creed Aventus, the big seller for men. In the Royal exclusive line, it's Spice and Wood that grabs most of the attention from most of the people. So they were both released in 2010, and some people are saying that Spice and Wood maybe is a good alternative to Aventus if you want to change things up. So Aventus itself, released in 2010, top notes apple, blackcurrant, pineapple, bergamot, heart notes juniper berries, birch, patchouli, jasmine, and in the base we have vanilla, musk, oak moss, and ambergris, as the picture there suggests. It's supposed to be inspired by the life of Napoleon Bonaparte because his favourite dessert was pineapple flavoured, and black currants and apples come from Corsica, and the ambergris represents the sea. Some people say it's Alexander the Great, but originally it was Napoleon. Now on to the other one, Spice and Wood, top notes apple, bergamot, lemon, pink pepper, cloves in the mid, angelica, patchouli, pimento, and white birch. In the base we have iris, oak moss, cedar wood, and musk, and it's supposedly inspired by the story of Antony and Cleopatra, which was mostly played out over in ancient Egypt. So a very fascinating pair of fragrances and some shared notes. So I tested both fragrances on my skin. I had a couple of sprays of each one on each hand. And also separately, I wore each fragrance. I wore Spice and Wood twice, and I wore Aventus once, but I've worn it many times in the past. And I tested them on paper strips too. Hello, welcome to today's video. So we're going to be looking at Creed Aventus versus Spice and Wood. Thanks very much to Fragrance Samples UK for this, my 5ml fragrance sample of Creed's Spice and Wood that I've been using. We're sponsored today by Fragrance Samples UK, run by the inimitable Greg, who is from the Greggy Boy 76 channel.
Hello guys, Greg back with another video.
And he's been doing YouTube reviews for years. And Fragrance Samples UK is just a really great place to try out samples of fragrances that you're interested in without having to risk a blind buying stuff. They do sizes from 1ml right up to 50ml of most things, and they are just excellent. The service is brilliant. They come in really nice atomizers, whichever size you get. They do ship around the world, but there are some terms and conditions if you are outside the UK, details below, and I thoroughly recommend them. So into the review. Spice and Wood then, why am I comparing this one to Creed Aventus? The main reason is I saw this video a while back, the female reviewer called Cleo Cam, and she said she gave a very good review of Aventus as a potential panty dropper. It was tongue-in-cheek when she used that term, but she said it was a good, attractive man's fragrance, but maybe it made you seem a little bit of a rogue, someone who might have a bit of a dangerous edge to you. So she gave a very positive review of the fragrance, but then she said this at the end of her review.
Once you have the attention of that special lady and she eventually ends up in your arms, and if you want to keep her there, then switch to Creed, Spice, and Wood to bring out your more sensitive and sensual side.
So what she said there always stuck in my mind, and I always thought, well, maybe if there's anything out there that's a really great all-rounder from Creed that could be the next step up maybe from Aventus, it does cost more as well, maybe it could be Creed, Spice and Wood. So I was always keen to try it, and I have tried it a few times in department stores. It was always nice, but it never really blew me away. But anyway, now I've got the chance and have had the chance to try it out properly, and here's what I thought about it. So I've worn it twice in full wearings, and as you could see there, I did some other little tests on it too, and I've been comparing pairing it with Aventus as well, because I feel that they are two fragrances, both of which are, they do have a woody theme. A lot of the notes are the same. There's bergamot in each one. Then apple note, you can't help but notice that one's in each one. There's patchouli, I think, in both of them, and I think maybe vanilla, musk, oak moss. There's a lot of similarities in the note breakdown, but they don't smell very, very similar. But they both come across as fairly good all-rounders, okay? And also the Royal Exclusive line, really, I think Spice and Wood is the most popular one, the most highly regarded amongst fragrance enthusiasts. And of course, in the main Creed fragrances line, Aventus is definitely the most popular one. So I made a few notes about what I got out of them, and I tried to revisit Aventus, because we always hear that it's just pineapple and birchwood, but there's more to it than that. So I wore Aventus again for the first time in a while on one of my hands and did a spray on a tester strip, and what struck me from this one was it is very crisp, it's citrusy, fresh, effervescent, a little bit sweet and fruity as well, very well rounded, and that was my first impression. I didn't think that the note of pineapple jumped out, and I wouldn't have recognised it if I didn't already know that pineapple is a main note, if I'm honest. In contrast then, Spice and Wood, the things that I picked up on first spraying this one is that it is warmer, it's a little bit richer, it's a little bit more spicy, it's also sweet, but and there's a fruitiness which Aventus also has, but maybe a slightly darker, sweeter fruitiness in Spice and Wood. As the two fragrances develop, I got the overall impression, as I revisited Aventus and tried to reimagine it outside the cliches of smoky pineapple, I got that something that, and I've said this I think before, that reminds me of a really crisp dry white wine like a Chardonnay, and they have lots of different fruit and citrus notes that are often on the back label of the wine bottle. So that was the feeling that I got, a really good quality white wine. If that could be encapsulated in a fragrance, I think Aventus does that to some extent, with some smoky woodiness as it dries down. Spice and Wood has a different feeling altogether. I got a note of apple that I really could recognise quite clearly in amongst some very smooth woodiness, unlike the smoky woodiness in Aventus. And I was reminded of maybe an apple with a bit of cinnamon spice added to it, so maybe some kind of apple dessert. In the base and the mid, I got a soft, musky kind of aura with Spice and Wood. Whereas with Creed, there was a little bit more of a butch, manly smokiness, and it did hang on to the crisp, fresh element very well for a long time. So I liked both fragrances a lot, but in all honesty, I did think that the Creed one had a bit more of a wow factor, and there was something quite captivating about the scent that you got when you first sprayed it and throughout the wearing. And I can see that I've become a bit jaded with Aventus by doing lots of reviews of clones and things, but I think if you revisited this one afresh, having not smelt it, it does still stand out as a superb and very captivating fragrance. Spice and Wood also really smells high quality and very, very classy. It's a little bit sweeter and it's a little bit softer. It's less bright and effervescent, but it is a little bit more warm and spicy. The fragrance does seem a little milder overall, and maybe has a bit less of a wow factor. It's more one that will make you go, that's nice, whereas this one is more likely to make you say, wow, that's sexy. And I think that's maybe what the lady in the video was alluding to. So the Spice and Wood fragrance is quality, but on scent alone, I would prefer Aventus, actually, personally. Both very nice though, so Aventus on scent I'd give it a 9, and Spice and Wood maybe about an 8. So it didn't really stand out as world-shatteringly amazing, and when you consider that it's more expensive than Aventus, prices appearing on the screen now, you know, that's maybe a thing against it. By the way, just wanted to mention, thanks very much for 6,000 subscribers. Really thrilled to hit that benchmark, and so I'm not one to blow my own trumpet, but trust me, if I could, I would. The packaging on the Spice and Wood is really great. I think they do a 75ml bottle and the big 250ml flacon, and Aventus has very nice bottles too. But yeah, a little bit more spectacular on Spice and Wood. So now we'll go on to one of the really important things, the performance of the two scents. I found that Aventus performed a lot better than Spice and Wood. Spice and Wood is actually a bit weak in performance for me. Both times that I wore it, I did not get great projection. I was with Claire from the Smurfy Girly channel, and she agreed that it was just about there if she sniffed up close, but she wasn't getting much of a waft from me very often. And after a few hours, 3 or 4 hours, it was very, very hard to detect it. Just a slightly sort of soft, musky scent that had really become, it kind of become one with my skin. Now that might be a good thing if you want a really soft, subtle scent. Some people do want that, and you know, if you're looking for an understated, very pleasant scent, that could be a good thing. But if you're looking to get noticed, Spice and Wood probably isn't going to do it. Aventus, however, did have really good longevity, and I wore it actually on my hand last night with the Spice and Wood. When I woke up this morning, I could still clearly smell the Aventus. Spice and Wood barely, if at all. As an aside, I did also spray on the Aventus clone, L'Aventure by Al Haramain, on this part of my arm, and equally with the Aventus, I can really smell it strongly. Just in the opening, it was a little bit more sharp and not quite as beautiful as Aventus, but after a while, I really struggle, I've said it before, to tell these two apart. So if you're looking for a cheap alternative to Aventus, by the way, L'Aventure is still absolutely quality in my opinion from the house of Al Haramain. I also like Pineapple Vintage, but in both its versions, but that is a more expensive take, and I think it takes Aventus and does something slightly different with an accentuated pineapple note. So back to Spice and Wood. Overall, I have to say that if you're looking for, maybe you've got Aventus, but you're looking for something different from the House of Creed, then Spice and Wood would not be my first choice. If you want something spicy and woody with a little bit more of a classy, maybe a slightly more mature feel, I would say something like Royal Oud would be a great choice. That's got a wonderful cedarwood and pink pepper note in there, and maybe a little dusting of a Euro-friendly, non-offensive oud. So Royal Oud, also a bit more expensive than Aventus, but not as much as Spice and Wood. Would be probably a great option if you want to change things up, go for something a little bit more classy, sophisticated, mature. Spice and Wood itself then, for me, bit of a disappointment considering the high price. Very nice scent indeed, but there are many others equal to or better than it out there in my humble opinion. So grateful for the chance to try this from Fragrance Samples UK. You may like this one more than I did. A lot of people do say great things about Spice and Wood. I personally found it good but not amazing. Creed Aventus then, still a really fantastic choice, and has to be one of the top ones for from Creed for a great all-rounder. You can buy a sample of this, of course, from Fragrance Samples UK, and now that prices are going up on Creed bottles, or at least I think they've changed the sizes, 100ml and 50ml instead of 75 and 120. I think the prices are not coming down, they might be staying the same. The price per ml is going up retail. Even more of a case for getting decants from Fragrance Samples UK. So yeah, Aventus still definitely the one if you're looking for a great all-rounder from Creed. Although not my favourite Creed fragrance, I don't think. I'll do a video on my top 5 Creed very soon. Spice and Wood probably won't be in there, but let me know your thoughts on it if you've tried it. Thanks very much for watching. Remember, whatever we're doing in life, let's project.